20 party tricks. Yeah, I can tray flip a tech deck. So I decided to join the games industry because the only thing that I actually cared about as a kid was learning, creating things and growing as a human. And the only way I could do that in certain elements was to make video games. So I started making video games when I was 12 and I've been doing that ever since. We're not unique in the ecosphere of making video games in the way that we make them, but we are unique in personality, skill, and drive. We are unique in those things, and we are unique in those things because we are in the north of England, and there aren't many studios like us in the north of England. There aren't many independent studios that do what we do at the size that we do it at, and we are unique because we care about our staff and put our staff first. A lot of smaller studios that are like us, but it's hard to find a studio at our scale that is like us.
What are your all-time favourite games?
Ah, shit. This question is an interesting one because I get asked this a lot, obviously, because I make video games, I've worked on a lot of video games, I've done a lot of stuff, and the answer is, I don't fucking have one. And the reason I don't fucking have one is because I don't make video games, right? Like, we say that we make video games at the studio, right? But we don't make video games. We make moments for people. What we do at the studio, make the moments for players or for people. That's the thing that matters. You don't remember the video game because the video game is good. You remember the video game because moments in the video game happen. I remember Sonic 2 because it was the first time I ever played a game all the way through in an hour and a half and was like, holy shit. I remember Psychonauts because it was the first time that I was like, holy shit, this is a creative world that no one else, I've never experienced before in my life. I remember Half-Life 2 because not only is it an amazing physics showcase and an incredible game, but I remember the bit when I get to Ravenholm and I pinned a head crab zombie to a wall with the bolt gun. Like, I remember all of those things, and I remember the moments more than I remember the game. And that's the actual question. The question isn't what's my favorite game. The question is what are the favorite moments that I've ever experienced in video games. And it's countless. What else have we got in there that actually is pretty sick? We got Skimboard, which is an amazing story, actually. Now, there's a guy called Adrian Raza. He's like a skimboard pro. He's got his own line. He's like skateboard pro, but for skimboarding, and he's probably the only one. But he started skimboarding fountains and doing urban skimboarding on concrete structures. And ever since I saw that, I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. I want to give that a go. So there was a period of time where it was like torrential downpour in Middlesbrough, and me and Derek were like, it's now or never. Like, we take the skimboards out, it's now or never, we're doing this. I've got a photo of Derek absolutely tanking it midair, like in this pose, like in midair. It's amazing photo, because he hit the dirt, hit the concrete, which is cool. So yeah, if Magnuson's here, oh it is, Magus, love Magus, it's so good. Magnuson exists because there's a TV show called Mythic Quest, and in Mythic Quest there's a character called Iron Grim, who's like effectively the character that I would be if I was in that show. For my 30th, our concept artist Henley gave me this shovel called Magnuson, so I sprayed Magnuson, and we call him Magus for short. It's a Magnuson shovel. It's a very important part of the collection. Oddish is my favorite Pokemon because not a lot of people know this, but he headbangs when he does any of his moves. So all of his moves are like, they're all that. So he just headbangs. I fucking love that. He's a little Masha. Love that. Cool, he's dead now. He's dead. We started out because we wanted to create jobs and do things in the area, right? And that was really cool, but there became a point where it flipped and it became about keeping the studio safe and keeping everyone else's jobs safe. Like, I sit in a unique position that no one else sits in, really. But there's a quote that's like, everyone looks at the guy riding the lion, it's like, fucking hell, that guy's riding a lion. That's wild. That's so cool, right? But the guy riding the lion is all like, fuck me, I want to get off. And it's kind of like that, you know, like it's like, make sure everything's safe, but also everything's on fire all the time. No matter what it is, it's on fire. And it's kind of like scary as shit, but it's kind of fun as well. The wildest story about signing something is, I went kayaking a couple of years ago, and I got a call from a friend, or I got a message from a friend on my phone, and I was sat on the river in that boat, and I was like, I was like, what do you need? He was like, oh, can I call you now? I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And 3 hours later, after being sat on the river in a 3-hour Skype call, and I had 10% battery on my phone when we finished it. We signed the DLC for that game while I was kayaking, and then I went and dropped some waterfalls in that after. And I called Red and Will just to tell them it was all going to be fine from my kayak. That was probably one of the most wild things Will ever experienced, right? Like, it was a whole moment, and I experienced it inside Chartreuse. Basically, every time we make video games, there's times where you have to watch bars go up. Now, I'm sure you understand that that's really boring if you've got ADHD. So I've spent 10 years of my life just doing this. Just doing this. So that's why they're here. Because I think without them, I probably would have gone insane. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But yeah, also you can put Enderman on him. Look at him, Endersman's. Look at him, loves it. Look at that. Amazing. The biggest achievement is actually the studio. The team is everything, and I care about the team a lot, and we do stuff for the team, and realistically that's the biggest achievement. I'm really not about awards or ceremonies or any of that shit. I don't care. Like, genuinely, the team's the thing that matters. And I think having the team that we have, we're incredibly lucky to have that team, because they could go and work anywhere and do anything. And they choose to spend time with us. Crazy. Fucking crazy.